Okay, so before we get into the actual card making, I just wanted to show you how I store my stamps and dies from Stampin' Up! That go together. I cut a piece of magnet and glue it into the DVD case and put my stamps on there, and now they are all together, and I will always have them. Also, if I stamp any extra designs or sentiments, I will stick them in here too, so that the next time I go to use the stamp set, I have some stuff that's already stamped in there. I stamped up a whole bunch of the sentiments that I'm probably not going to use today, so I will throw them in the case and have them for next time. So what I stamped was I stamped the acorn here, and I stamped some of these branches. I stamped this pine needle snowflake and the big pine needle snowflake. I stamped a couple of the little snowflakes right here. I stamped enough of these little branches to go on all the acorns, and I stamped some of these because I didn't know if I was going to use them or not. And then I stamped 8 of these and turned them into snowflake branches too. So let's get into it. So for my DSP, this is the one that I use, the Designer Series paper, and I actually cut one entire sheet of paper that's going to make all 6 of these cards. All of my snowflakes and branches and stuff were cut out of scraps of white cardstock. So you can see this is this one's 5 1/4 by 4, 5 1/4 by 4. This is the leftover piece at the top, flipped over. This one's 5 1/4 by 4, and then I split the rest of that in half. This is actually on the seasonal catalog. This is on page 42. This method of using all of the pieces of one scrap of paper, or one piece of 12 by 12 Designer Series paper, and so then this, like this. So you can see I used the whole sheet of paper. I did already cut my flags out of this, but so this is going to make 6 cards, possibly 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 cards. It's going to make 7 cards. So let's get this put away. And then I took the green cardstock that I had. Let's see, the name of that is, oh, sorry. This is the garden green cardstock, and I cut my card bases out of that. So, and then I scored them. I found out that if you score them lightly instead of hard, the paper is not as likely to crack. So, and then I will trim off this little extra edge. So for this first card, I'm going to do real simple. I'm going to put my Designer Series paper on it. Okay. Line that up. Okay, so there's my card bases. I'm going to pause it for a minute and get all of my bases put together, and then we'll go on creating from there. All right, so for these first two, I actually used a cream colored card base, and I cut the green cardstock to cover the entire thing, since I had one piece left that would have either made one card if I folded it in half, or I could use it as a card front. So that's what I did. Now I'm going to take my blending brush here, And I'm just going to change up the color a little bit on this. I'm going to start off on a scratch piece of paper because I don't want anything too dark. So just change it up a little bit from, you know, what was originally there. Give it a little more interest. And again, you know, when you're using your blending brushes, it doesn't have to be terribly even. I like how the little spots are showing up a little more. Little spots that are in the background of this paper. I hadn't even really noticed the spots before I put the ink on here. Okay, and that's good. I just wanted it to contrast a little bit with the snowflake I'm going to use. So there's that. Okay. And then I'm going to use on this one the big snowflake. Okay, right in the center. And then I'm going to use Happy Christmas across the front. And I will probably use some of those snowflakes. Should I find them? Yes, some of these snowflakes. So let's get this one put together. All right, there's my Happy Christmas right across the center. My tweezers, and I think I'm going to use the dark green ones for this one. So all right, there we go. Simple. One sheet of cardstock, one sheet of designer series paper. These are the sentiments that I cut out last week on the gold metallic paper, and scraps of white for the snowflakes made from branches. Do the same thing with this one. And I like adding the color to the background paper, just gives it a little more contrast for the snowflake to stand out. So for this one, I think I'll use Season's Greetings. So again, that was from that hybrid emboss and cut folder that we worked with last week. Get that upside right. This one a little bit more of my snowflake shows up. And then we have the snowflake jewels. Okay. So now with this one, I took one of the two pieces that were cut from the center. I put a piece of that green ribbon with the gold edge on it, on this, and I'm going to use the two snowflake shapes that I made from putting those branch pieces together. So those were this one, and I stamped and cut 4 of them, and then I glued them all together in the center. So now we're I think it adds a little interest having it go off the side a little bit. That will dry clear. I'm going to use the red one for this one, and I'm going to put it right in the center of these where they all meet. Okay. And then I'm going to, let's see. So this one almost fits on there. Little scissors. I'm just going to make my my dovetails just a little shallower, and that will help it fit on there. Okay. And then I think I'm going to do the edges. In that same green. Okay, so I just did the edges in green. I smeared a little on this side, so I did the same thing on the other side to make it look even. And then for this we'll use some, actually I think I'll pop these up, this one up with some dots. So be sure when you use a long sentiment, like this one is kind of long, that you put a dot in the middle so it doesn't sink in the middle. So I'm using 3 foam dots on here. Get it upside right, and there we go. Celebrate the season. Little bit of bling, simple card to do using mostly scraps and 1 piece of cardstock, 1 piece of designer series paper. So on this one, I put the ribbon a little lower, and I think I had planned to do this. So get that right in there, line it up on this edge, have the dovetail showing a little bit of this, and I decided to use these snowflakes on this one. Again, I'm going to go a little off the edge to give my card a little more interest, more contrast in the colors. A little bit off the edge over here too. And then we're going to use tape on the sentiment. Then I want to line my sentiment up right with the edge of the ribbon, get it kind of centered in there, and there we go. And let's see, I think I'll use the red again on this one, and in the center of the pine branch snowflakes. So cover up the little holly berries there. All right. So there we go, card number 4. Okay. So for card number 5, we're going to use these 2 pieces. When I do this, I actually put the adhesive on both sides, and then where I'm going to dovetail, I put it on too, so that my points are nice and sticky. Because the points are what always tend to peel up. Okay, so this one I'm going to line up, I think, right with the top of the Designer Series paper. And this one I'm going to stagger and overlap a little bit. I think it's great that, one ended up being darker. It gives it a little more interest. And then for this one, let's see. I think that's a little too big. I think we're going to go with the Merry Christmas. Maybe, I think, what if I was to make a wreath out of these? One more piece like that. Okay, I think so. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put glue on the back of the Merry Christmas, and then I'm going to adhere my branches to it. So there's my Merry Christmas. I want this branch like here, this branch about here. I'll go like this for this one, and then a little flatter for this one. Okay, and now we're going to put more glue on it so that everything is glued together. Okay. All right. Okay, and then I think I'm going to stick one of these pine cones right here. And another one right here. Okay. And now I think I'll use the silver ones and get them on the green. Okay. So there we go. Merry Christmas, and this is card number 5. Card number 6 and 7 are going to be with the snowflakes again. I think I'm going to use a brownish ink this time. Let's see how that turns out. Let me go find a brown ink. I've got a brown ink right here. Get my scratch paper. I'm going to do a little off. I think I'm going to go a little bit darker with this one. Okay, I think that's good. We'll do brown with the other one too. And we're going to go kind of dark with this one. Okay. Got a little bristly there. A little darker with this one. With this one, I'm letting the bristles show a little more, mainly because I did it on accident on first. But you know, anytime you make a mistake, it's just it's an opportunity to make it a little different than it was. So. One more should do it right there. Okay. All right, so we've got these two, and we're going to do the same thing with the snowflake. We're going to, this one I'm going to use the snowflake, and I'm going to use the sentiment, not Holly Jolly, let's see. 'Tis the Season, okay? I like the way that one's turning out, and I'll probably use the red snowflakes on this one. And then on this one, here's our big snowflake. And I'm going to use, let's see, Merry and Bright, okay? And again, I'll use the red. I hope you enjoyed these cards. Well, I'll see you again next week. And we'll be making more cards with the Stampin' Up! Elegant Pine Snowflakes and the Delicate Pines stamps and cards. We'll be using different DSP next time and a little different setup. But thank you for watching, and enjoy your week.